Okay. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. The today's objective of this precise orientation is just to clarify the main areas, the main context, then some syllabus overview of audit and assurance. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard that audit and assurance is one of the toughest exams. It is a completely theoretical exam. You need to memorize a lot of areas in audit. You need to have a lot of information regarding financial reporting. This exam takes a lot of time to prepare and multiple misconceptions that you have in mind. So, inshallah, after this orientation, you will be able to have a very good idea about audit and assurance. And one thing that I want to make sure of is to clarify one misconception that audit is a difficult exam. Now, every one of you have looked up upon the passing ratio or heard your seniors saying that this is a difficult exam. Many people say that a lot of memorization is required here. But one thing that you should know is audit is one of the easiest exams of ACC. Now, what makes it a little complicated is the use of judgment here. Now, from F1 till this point, every exam requires us to have a set of rules followed, like financial reporting has the IS and IFRS. FM has a standard pattern. Your PM has formulas. Every area has a standard pattern according to which you have to give an answer. But in audit and assurance, the complete case or the complete exam comes in a scenario-based position. So when a scenario comes in, here you are required to have a substantial judgment involved in your practice. Now, if a person says that one answer is correct, it is not in all the cases. In every scenario, a specific answer can fit in if you adjust it or mold it into that scenario. Okay. Now you're saying, like, let's take an example. You say that from your house to the airport, it takes 30 minutes. Under normal circumstances, under general circumstances, it takes 30 minutes. But in some special circumstances, when the scenario changes, it will take you longer or a little shorter. So if in audit you need to pass the exam, you want to pass the exam, you need to be flexible enough. You need to have a good grip on the concept and a strategy to mold your answer, to mold your strategy, to mold your thinking according to the case. Because the complete exam is on case study basis. So if you are not able to just apply the things that you have learned into the cases, it will be a very difficult exam for you. Now, this eliminates two of the misconceptions. Number one, audit is a theoretical based exam. It is not a theory based exam. The basis of audit is basically financial reporting, and it is completely based on application. So if you're saying it is an application based exam, you need to have a little concept of the theory. Yes, you do, but memorization of theory will lead to an absolute failure. If you are memorizing a technique, technique is applied and it needs to be adjusted according to the scenario as well. So if you're memorizing a technique that we have to apply this technique only, and you do not know how to mold it, you will fail. So there are multiple things that we are going to go along and discuss why students fail. Why, what is the most prominent thing that I have seen that people miss out in the preparation? What is the most important thing that people need to know, and how have we created it? So a brief introduction regarding me. I am a qualified ACCA student. I have a practical experience in audit and insurance for multiple international clients for past 3 to 4 years. Plus, I've been teaching audit insurance, FIA, and F4 law as well. So I have a very good background regarding the concepts of law, concepts of financial accounting, financial reporting, and especially the practical experience of audit. So this helps me in basically conveying a message with practical understanding. The practical understanding, why am I emphasizing this, is basically that if you are studying audit, you are studying this as a subject, but audit is there in your practical life as well. The main difference is you just don't focus on that area. You don't have the view of that area. Now, everyone goes out. If you sit in a car, the first thing that you look is, if you're going in a rented car, look at the driver. The driver is a person who is basically going to transport you from one point to another. Now, when you look into the car, you see how the driver looks, what is the atmosphere of the vehicle, how is he driving, etc., right? This is audit for you. An auditor does the same thing when he goes into an audit organization. If he goes to audit an organization, he looks at the environment of the organization. That how is the management working? How is the board of directors operating? Is the environment friendly towards changes in the organization, or it is very basically following the rules, the regulations, the controls applied or not? So if you just try to apply audit in your practical life, it would be very easy for you. So we'll see how each of the concepts are applied and how can we basically move forward with it. So starting up with the main objectives. So introduction of audit insurance, I'll give you the introduction. The paper pattern will be discussed, the detailed syllabus walkthrough, and some exam strategies. So quickly going towards the paper pattern has basically two sections, section A and section B. Section A has 3 questions, each question holding 10 marks, each question having 5 MCQs of 2 marks weightage. Basically, a small case will be provided to you, and in that case, you will be basically catering 5 MCQs each regarding a specific topic or multiple topics coming in combined. So very easy marks if you have a grip on the concepts of audit and the practical application, because each and every question has a separate scenario. A separate scenario means a new case, a new adaptable position for you, and a new understanding point for you. So 3 questions in section A, 10 marks each, 5 MCQs in each question. In section B, there are 3 questions again. One question is of 30 marks, 2 questions are 20 marks each, and these are constructive response questions. In constructive response question, basically you have to write a long answer, a short answer, a case study to analyze and answer it with the particular context of the case that is given to you. So it is not at all difficult, but it requires a certain degree of practice. Absolutely, if you're saying that if you can pass audit without practice, it's a thing that you're saying that we have read a book and we can drive a car. It's absolutely nearly impossible for us to pass the exam if we have not practiced the exam. Okay, duration is 3 hours, 15 minutes, 100 marks passing. The passing ratio has been 44% and 30 to 44%, 38, 34%. The passing ratio is a thing that is presenting you how many people have basically successfully attempted and cleared the exam. But if you look at the passing ratio and you think that this is a difficult exam, you are making the biggest mistake of your life. It is just filtering out the people who were well prepared for the exam and people who were not prepared for the exam. I have seen people who have not completed syllabus and they are going for the exam. I have seen people who have not practiced single past paper. The people have not attempted a pre-mock and they're attempting the exam. So obviously, if you're leaving a practice incomplete, you won't be able to pass the exam. And if you are going for an exam and you're looking at the passing ratio that you will be passing the exam or not, this is the first mistake that will lead to a failure. Audit requires a lot of confidence, a lot of practice, and absolutely a clear vision regarding what to do next. So please don't focus on the passing ratio. It's just a view of the clearance of people who are well prepared. If you are well prepared, you will surely pass the exam. Everyone who is attempting an exam with the complete preparation is going to pass the exam. The people who are not prepared, obviously, if they pass in the exam only, they will not be able to pass in the practical life as well. So it is just a useless step. It's the step that you're taking just to satisfy yourself. So don't worry about the passing ratio. When we go through the syllabus, you will realize that it is very easy to basically pass the exam and cover up the syllabus. Plus, it is very easy to attempt the exam as well. So we'll go step by step from each stage. Now, coming up towards the syllabus area, the syllabus area is basically divided into multiple sections. Section A is basically the audit framework. Audit framework basically focuses on what is the main attitude of an auditor, or what is the main mindset of an auditor, or what is the auditor coming in to do. Okay. Now, if an auditor is going into the organization, what is his key objective? The key objective of an auditor is to check the financial statements and present a true and fair picture, or present a report that says that the financial statement is providing a true and fair picture or not. Now, the auditor has to check the financial statements. So obviously, he needs to know the financial reporting frameworks. So for audit, one prerequisite that you have to do is attempt FR exam. If you are not attempting FR exam, audit exam will be difficult for you. That's a short thing for you. Number one. Now, what does auditor do? Auditor is checking the financial statements to provide a reasonable assurance that he is seeing, according to his view, according to his work that he has conducted, the financial statements are providing a true and fair picture. Now, according to his view, he is giving a reasonable level of assurance. Reasonable level of assurance, what does it mean? Reasonable level of assurance means a high level of assurance, but not absolute assurance. Now, what does this mean? Basically, what we are trying to say is the auditor is going and checking the company. It takes approximately 2 to 3 months for an auditor to perform an audit. He is checking the complete financial statements that is prepared from the data of 1 year in 3 months. So obviously, he won't be checking each and every transaction. He won't be checking everything. He will be checking a sample of everything. a sample of every area. There will be estimates involved, like in IS 16, the useful life is an estimate, like depreciation is an estimate, like salvage value is an estimate. So there are multiple types of estimates involved in a financial statements. When the auditor is checking the financial statements, he will obviously be seeing that estimates are there. Now he can check whether the estimates are reasonable, are on a normal level, are not too optimistic or pessimistic. He will be checking the reasonableness of them. He will not be giving a guarantee on that. Like if I'm preparing you for the exam, I am getting the mocks from you, I am getting the test from you, I'm checking your answers. I will provide you a reasonable assurance. I can say that yes, this student can reasonably pass the exam. But in the exam, if you have cheated on the tests, on the mocks, and or you go blank in the exam, obviously I cannot turn out as exact result that what will happen with you until and unless I have the exam paper that I possibly cannot. So obviously, the auditor is checking the financial statements to provide a reasonable level assurance. He's saying, I am pretty sure, I am highly certain that yes, the financial statements are giving a true and fair view. But I cannot guarantee that everything is true and fair. I cannot guarantee because I'm using a sample. There are estimates involved, and management can create a bias that might not come into my attention. Okay. Now, the statutory audit is a basically compulsory for listed company, and there's some requirements of private company as well. The main objective of statutory audit is to provide assurance that the financial statements are in a true and fair picture. Now, to whom? Basically, to the owners of the company. The owners of the company are the shareholders. Now, why are we doing this? The main objective is the government says the shareholders are the owners of the company. Yes, they are the owners of the company. But who is running the company? The company is run by the or operated by the management. So if the management is using the shareholders' money to run the company, how do we make sure that the shareholders are getting the return deserves and the money that is used for from the shareholders by the management is used for business purpose only? So government obligated on public companies whose shares are listed on the stock exchange that they need to be getting their financial statements audited at the end of each year by an independent party who is having no bias, who is having no financial interest in the company, so that the shareholders can get a certainty that yes, their money is being used for the business only and they're getting the return that they deserve. No fraud or error is being committed. Next, if you're talking about an independent party being checking the particular financial statements, independent party needs to be ethically clear. Now, what is ethics? Ethics are basically guidelines of the society of the people without which we are equal to the animals. In simple words, ethics in terms of audit basically guides us regarding the rules and regulations that are given by ISBA to the auditors, basically telling them some activities that they should prevent from doing that would basically hinder or move or basically shake the reliability on their independence. Our auditor is independent, meaning he has no biasness towards the financial statements, that he will be basically providing a very unbiased, unpopulated, or unpolluted evidence or a report to the shareholders. The shareholders can rely on. So ethical guidelines help us in maintaining the integrity of the report and helping us in maintaining that position that the auditor will be in the position that his report will be used for multiple people in terms of making decisions in the particular company. Now, second part is basically the planning. Now, planning of audit is basically the strategy that is developed to work for the next 3 months. The strategy involves multiple things. What are we going to do? How are we going to do? At what extent are we going to do? How many people do we require? How much time do we require? What is the fees of the audit? How much resource, by resources mean people we require, and what expertise do we require for this particular audit? This is the planning part. Now, normally people, what they do is they study planning first and they go for the procedures later or the audit evidence collection later. But I go in the reverse process. First, I tell you that I teach you normally what are the components of planning. First, we are going to learn that what are the components of planning. An example is, let's say you are going on a picnic. If you're going on a picnic, you are planning for the picnic. If you don't know what are the requirements of the things that you're going to need there in the picnic, how are you going to plan for it? So here, for that particular purpose, you need to know the components of the particular objective. The objective is a statutory audit. Now, the audit requires what? You need to know that first. If you know the components of audit, if you know what needs to be done in audit, then and then only you can plan for the audit. So first, we are going to go for the area of internal controls, the learning of internal controls, the audit evidence, and then we're going to go for the plan. Now, what is internal controls? Internal controls section C is basically telling us that a management, a company that is well regulated has some internal systems, policies, rules, mechanisms developed so that they can make sure all the areas what that mean, all the components of the financial statements, all the data recorded in the financial statement is coming from reliable sources. It is recorded completely. It has no fraud and error into it. Now, to prevent the fraud and error and make sure the data in the financial statement is true and fair. By true and fair, we mean that it is reasonable, it is accurate, it is complete, it has no bias in it. We need to develop some systems, obviously. So the systems develop. First of all, the auditor needs to check whether the systems are working accurately or not. Okay. Now let's say if you are driving a car, now audit is a car. Someone says that you can rely on the car to go for a trip for 1000 miles. Okay. First instinct is check the car's condition so that every part of the car is working accurately so that you can travel 1000 miles. Similarly, auditors check the internal control system so that they know that the data that is recorded in the financial statement is coming from reliable sources. So if the internal controls are weak, the auditor will see that the components of financial statement or the data in the financial statement is not coming from a reliable source. That means basically the auditor has to work extremely hard to obtain evidences from independent parties, from external sources, or by working himself to know whether the financial statements are true and fair or not. Okay, the controls can be of multiple types. It can be the management's basically rules and regulations. It can be certain systems such as a login system or logout system. It can be physical controls such as CCTV cameras or the lock system, passports on softwares, backup systems, authorization systems, anything can be there. First of all, the auditor will check whether the control was designed adequately, right? Like a house, if you are looking at a house and you want to check whether the house is good for living or not, first of all, you will see whether the design is good or not, right? If the design has a flaw, obviously the construction will have a flaw integrated automatically in it. So you are going to negate it, you're going to neglect it. So here, similarly, in an auditor, when he sees a control, he checks the internal control first. He checks the internal control for its design first. If the design is weak, he will not check the control for its implementation. Now he sees that if the design is weak, obviously the implementation will be weak as well. So first of all, auditor will check whether the control has been designed accurately. It is mitigating or reducing the risk of having a fraud and error to an acceptable level. Number two, he will check whether the application is done correctly or not. If the design is good, then we go for the application part. Application says that the design was excellent, but have we applied it correctly and people do follow it or not? Then after we relying on that particular design and application, we move on to the monitoring and renewal phase. Monitoring phase basically says that a control, if implemented, mitigates a risk or reduces a risk to an acceptable level for a certain duration. But after a certain duration, obviously the risk comes in a new way, from a new angle, like on Facebook, Instagram, or in social media. You apply a password. The password is a control that prevents people from entering your account without your authorization. But after 6 to 10 months or 1 year, you see that the password might be renewed or password should be renewed because a person might have seen you entering the password. The person might has figured out the password for you. So monitoring means continuously updating the control or monitoring the control whether the risk has come up in a new way or not. So if you're not monitoring the control, obviously the control is obsolete. And if the control is obsolete, in the end, it will result in a breach of the control or fraud and error in the particular financial system. So control, design, application, and then monitoring. Then last but not the least, we are going to look at the environment. The environment basically means the example of the rental car that we were taking. If the management is not sincere about the controls, the management is looking for loopholes. We see that management is not serious about the policies that they make. So the control might be designed very well, it might be applicated very well, it might be monitored, but it is not followed. So what is the use of the control then? Obviously, the control is irrelevant for us now because no one is following it. It is there, it is absolutely well, it is maintained, but it is not used. So what is the use of it? So obviously, you have to first of all look at the base level internal controls from where the data is generated and recorded in the financial statement. If that is weak, obviously, you will need to plan accordingly that we need to work more in this organization. So look, if you don't know internal controls, how are you going to plan for the test of controls or checking of the controls? How are you going to plan for the work that you need to conduct in the organization for the particular audit to be successful? So first of all, we need to know the internal controls. Then we know that we need to collect audit evidence. Audit evidence is basically an evidence that is obtained on the basis of which I can give an opinion. Like an example, if a student comes to me and he is enrolled in my audit exam, I'm asking them to basically write the answers that I've given for practice. They give me the answers, I check them and provide a feedback. They're coming in for the mock that I have placed for them, the exam style mock that we conduct. So if they come in and they attempt the mock and the mock is reverted back to me, I check the mock and I provide a feedback. Now, when I have the mock, I am checking the mock. I have evidence that the other party has done something. And I can provide a feedback whether that work that is done is in accordance with the examiner's expectations or not, right? If I want to obtain the audit evidence, I need to perform procedures. That means I'm basically going to check the work of the other parties through substantive procedures, through other sampling techniques, through comparison with the last year, etc., etc. That is a very detailed thing that we're going to later on look at. But right now, audit evidence is basically checking of the work of the other party to obtain evidence, to obtain a reasonable assurance that I can basically give opinion whether the person will pass the exam or whether the financial statements are giving a true and fair picture or not. Okay. So evidence obtaining requires multiple things. We can do multiple activities. And this is one of the most important part of the exam as well. Area C and area D. These are one of the most important areas of the exam. B, C, and D, these three areas will going to be basically be covering approximately 60 to 70% of the examination. Okay. So there is a short question on each of them, a short question on each of the areas. So it is very important for you to basically cover these areas in adequate strategic style. Okay. Now, when we are collecting evidences, the financial statement is made on the financial reporting frameworks, FR, ISAs, or IS. Now, when I want to make sure that the financial statements are made accurate, I need to check them with in compliance with IFRS or IS. So first of all, I'm going to pick an IFRS that is applied in the financial statements. Let's say for revenue, IFRS 15. I'm going to pick the revenue. I'm going to check the conditions of IFRS 15, the 5 conditions of copper. So I'm going to see whether the copper has been complied while recording the revenue in the financial statements. If it is not complied with, I can say that I have obtained evidence that the particular financial statements are not in accordance with the financial reporting standards. So I can make a reasonable estimation. I can make an opinion. I can give an opinion that yes, this financial statement is not giving a true and fair picture because the financial statement should be made with the IFRS. It is not made with the IFRS. If it is not made with the IFRS, absolutely, it is not giving the true and fair picture that we need to have. So making it short, the audit evidence is basically complied or checked by obtaining evidence or by performing procedures in order to obtain evidence whether the financial statement is giving a true and fair picture in accordance with IS or IFRS not. So basically, first of all, the area is substantive procedures. Substantive procedure basically are procedures done by the auditors in order to obtain evidence. Procedures can involve recalculation. They can be inspection of records. They can be compliance with IS and IFRS. There can be compliance with laws and regulations. They can be compliance with any kind of specific guidelines by the government, etc., etc. So obviously, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to pick up the rules and regulations, and we are trying to see whether the management has followed the rules and regulations. Now, one common question coming up here: are the auditors responsible for making sure the management is complying with the laws and regulations, or is the auditor responsible to check whether the company is committing a fraud or not? Now, this is a very common question I get. The answer is no. The auditor is not responsible to check for any non-compliance, to basically make sure the company is complying or not. The auditor is not responsible to identify, detect, and prevent fraud. The auditor is only responsible to check the financial statements, that they are giving a true and fair picture or not. Now, in the way of checking the financial statement checking is the final objective. Now, on the way to checking the financial statements, if anything is affecting the financial statements, the auditor will be required to check that component as well. And how much is it affecting the financial statements and what will be the impact on the audit report. Now, again, I'm repeating it. The auditor is not responsible for fraud detection or prevention. He is not responsible for compliance with laws and regulations. He is only responsible to check the financial statements, whether they are giving a true and fair picture or not. If something that is coming in the way and affecting the financial statements, the auditor will be required to check at what extent will the financial statements be impacted and would advise the management to rectify the problem or to incorporate the problem. Otherwise, they will give a other opinion that is not true and fair. Now, an example can be, let's say a company is about to get fined. A company is about to get fined for, let's say, environmental hazards. Okay. Now, if a fine is coming in, according to IAS 37, we have to check whether it is a contingent liability, a provision, or a for sure liability, right? We know that. We have studied this in IFRS, in our F7 exam. Now, if the auditor is to check the financial statements, he need to check whether the company should recognize a provision or contingent liability. If he wants to check that, he will need to assess the case at what level the environmental hazard has been there. He needs to check with the laws and regulations what extent of law has been breached and what are the activities that are conducted against the company, so that he can get evidence whether a contingent liability or provision should be recorded, and he will check the financial statements whether the financial statements have a provision or contingent liability or not. So the end objective is the most important one, to check the financial statements whether they provide a true and fair picture or not, and that is the objective of the auditor. There is no need to be confused that auditor has to do something else than that. Okay. Now, when we have the audit evidence, now if we have studied these two areas, that the internal controls and the audit evidence, then we will go back to the planning phase. In the planning phase, we are going to check whether the company requires a lot of assessment, a lot of work to be done, more seniors to be done. What should we do? What are the areas? What are the key problems? Are the controls weak? Are the controls strong? Is the company having multiple problems in themselves? So when we understand the company, when we understand the situations, when we understand the circumstances, then we can plan for the audit. We will plan, we will have appropriate resources, funds, times, etc., whatever planning that is, there are. So we are going to conduct the planning. The planning will be the understanding of the entity, the risk assessment, the control testing, the substantive procedures on an overall basis, the assessment through analytical procedure, analysis of the company, comparison with ratios, etc. So once we are done with that, we are going to plan for it. Planning, then conducting of the audit. That means basic substantive procedures are going to be done on a level of extent, etc., some other activities as well. Once we are done with that, we will come up towards the end of the audit. At the end of the audit, we are going to do some of the reviews. Now, in the revision phase, we have multiple things, that is subsequent events. Now, subsequent event is what? Subsequent event is basically events that are appearing or occurring after the event. If something is occurring or coming up after the event, obviously we have to check whether that is being incorporated in the financial statements or not. Should it be included in the financial statements or not? It is IS 10 here. IS 10 says that we have to include any event that is an existing event and not include anything that is not existing, and only give a disclosure if a non-existing event is material in nature. So IS 10 holds an importance in subsequent events. Now, subsequent event basically gives us an evidence, anything that has happened after the year end, whether it is affecting the financial statements or not. Then we're going to check the going concern assessment. Going concern assessment basically says that we are checking whether the company will be able to operate for the next 12 months or not. Now, why are we checking this? Is it our responsibility? It is not our responsibility, but it is important for us to know whether the company will be a going concern or not, because it will impact the financial statements. If a company is a going concern, the financial statement will be made on normal basis. But if a company is not a going concern, the financial statement has to change their presentation. Every non-current asset or liability is to be converted into current, because the company is to make the financial statements in a way that their company is going to close within the next 12 months. So every non-current liability becomes current. Every non-current asset becomes current because it is to be sold within this particular year. So the presentation of the financial statement is going to change. So hence the auditor has to check the going concern as well. Now coming up towards the written representation. Written representation is basically asking the management to give us in writing that every data that they have given us is complete. Everything that they are telling us is to the best of their knowledge, and they have not hidden anything at all. This is not a strong evidence because management is obviously biased. They will try to save themselves. But this is the area that is important for the auditor, because if something is hidden from the auditor and later on it is discovered, the auditor will hold no liability for that, because the management has given them the document that they have told them everything else, right? When we have done everything else, we are giving the audit opinion. Audit opinion is basically the last verdict by the auditor on what he thinks. Now, opinions can be of basically three types: unmodified opinion, qualified opinion, and adverse or disclaimer of opinion. Unmodified opinion means everything is true and fair. Modified opinion means something is wrong in some of the areas, but it does not impact the complete financial statements. Now, disclaimer and adverse opinion means the complete or maximum area of financial statement is affected by a misstatement or some problems faced in audit, and we cannot give a clear opinion. The financial statements are not giving a true and fair picture, or we cannot express our opinion. Now, circumstances are very detailed, so we will be requiring some additional time in the course to basically go about it. So we have the demo lectures on the YouTube as well, so you can look upon them as well for the more details. Right now, I'm just giving you the idea of what opinion means. Opinion means giving a particular assurance or particular verdict whether the auditor feels that the financial statements are true and fair in nature, they are not true and fair in nature. If they're not true and fair in nature, at what extent they are not true and fair? Is it a small problem or a very big problem? So that is given in the opinion paragraph there. Then we have the opinion paragraph placed in the audit report, and the audit report we are going to basically present the particular areas. Now, when we're talking about audit, obviously softwares are involved, computerized systems are involved, there are calculations are involved. So ratio analysis is involved in the audit exam. We have CAD systems involved, the proper usage of CAD systems, our test data, our digital analysis of the systems of the client, etc., etc. They are all involved in this particular area. Now, this was a very brief overview of the audit syllabus. Now, towards the main area, that is, why do students fail? Now, this is the area that people fail to understand that why did we fail. Number one, the failure is because you memorize things. Now, when I'm telling you substantive procedure is a checking of financial statements to obtain evidence, every situation requires a different substantive procedure. People memorize substantive procedure, and the examiner says they are not relating to the case. They are writing generalized substantive procedure. Now, if you are not relating to the case, obviously you are not going to gain marks. You are not getting the evidence. Now, people are focused on writing substantive procedure. They are not thinking what is the outcome that we are getting. So if you're not focusing on the outcome, obviously you are not relating to the case, and the examiner will not grant you marks. Number one. Number two, misunderstanding of situations. Misunderstanding situation means basically not being able to interpret the case. What is the case applying? Which IS or IFRS is applicable here? Number three, poor exam techniques. People just start writing. Starting to write and writing with a strategy has a vast difference. You write an answer, but you don't explain the answer well. You're getting a 0 out of it. An example is, let's say, if I tell you that you're going to fail the exam, does it help you? It will just panic you, right? But if I give you the reason why I think that you will fail the exam, obviously that is going to create an impact better. That is going to give you guidance. What is the problems I'm facing? And if I tell you that whether this problem is on a high risk or a low risk, it will help you in basically catering the risk, right? So in the audit as well, if you are writing a risk towards the particular management you are telling, a control is weak. So first of all, tell them why it is weak. If I'm telling you that your control is weak, I need to tell why is it weak? What is the reason I'm telling that this is weak? And I have to explain the impact of this weakness as well. If I'm not telling the complete 3 steps there, obviously it will result in a weak answer, and your management is not going to take you seriously. If they are not going to take you seriously, the examiner is not going to take you seriously. So obviously you're going to fail there. So this is the main gist of the area. Plus time management. When people just start to write, they write long paragraphs of stories, and it is useless. Write concise answer, but with the right strategy gives you absolutely full marks there. And then the analysis part, obviously the analysis part, if you're not able to analyze the questions, you are not able to understand the questions, you are going to fail the exam. So for these particular reasons, people fail. And now what have we done to basically try to mitigate this problem? For this, first of all, we have created a study planner for you guys. In the study planner, we are going to give you the detailed timeline on how to go about the syllabus, what to learn first, what to practice first, how to practice, when to do, and how many days to cover the syllabus, what are the practice questions, how many practice questions you need to do, and what time is required to do them. Number one. Number two is, the one thing that I'm emphasizing on is practical application. my complete lectures, my complete playlist is having a maximum duration of one lecture of 45 minutes. Number one, that makes it easier for you to understand, retain, and stay focused. Number two, each lecture, each concept has been linked to a practical scenario that might create a longer course duration, longer study period for you. But you are getting a grip of the examination scenarios while you're learning the concepts. So the practical application is going side by side with your theoretical knowledge. So it feels a more relatable option for you, a more efficient option for you, while just giving you a theory and saying that past paper will give you the application. This creates a double effort. So if you're studying by application, it creates an impact that you will be helped in the exam, that you will be able to interpret the question better, try to answer better, and give a better analysis in the exams. Plus, we have live sessions approximately on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So we have live queries, we have practice questions, we have live crash courses as well. We have active WhatsApp support where I am directly answering each and every question for you. I have given practice questions that are reverted back to me by my students and I check them and provide the individual feedback. I have designed a mock for you guys that will basically help you or replicate the examination conditions and be taken on CB format that will help you to go into the exam scenario before the exam and get yourself prepared and analyzed before the examination. Plus, we'll be solving a pre-mock live as well. So giving you a very good exposure to the answer writing, the examination conditions, theoretical concepts and practical application, exam strategies, and much more. So if you are willing to go with a more practical and strategical approach, I would say that you need to get enrolled in the course and get the most of the lectures that are there. So that was all from my side. Thank you for being very patient and for having me and listening to me very carefully. I understand the orientation might go a little boring in some of the areas, but thank you for being in audience. The last thing I would just want to say that audit is not at all. It is a perception that you have built. Perceptions will change when you start to study with a good practical approach and a practical feedback of everything that is there. So please keep your thoughts that are negative aside. Ignore the people what they're saying. Start learning and you will realize it is very easy to pass audit exam. What you need is the right strategy and the right guidance. And we are here to provide that to you. So now I'll be referring to the chat box for anyone having any kind of questions regarding the examination, any queries. So the stage is all yours. I'm here to answer everything that you have. Okay. Is there any study plan for this module? Yes, I will be giving a detailed study planner for you. I have some demo lectures on the YouTube that will basically give you the complete idea of audit. And I'll be sharing once you're enrolled in the course, obviously I will be giving you a detailed study planner from lecture by lecture to concept by concept, each and everything that is to be done. All my lectures are in a plan that will start from day one till the day of the examination. What to do and how to do, I'll be guiding you all along. Yes, anything else by anyone? Any other questions? If you have learned to study the IS or IFRS, in the examination, a question comes on property, plant, equipment, or non-current assets. Now you need to understand when to apply IFRS 5, when to apply IS 40, when to apply IS 16. You memorize the answer of IS 16, the rules of IS 16, the capitalization of cost or revenue expenditures, and any other areas, and the examination you copy paste it. So you will basically fail the exam again because the examiner doesn't want that. He wants you to pick the data from the passage and write an answer accordingly. So my advice is stop memorizing, learn the strategy to write an answer, how to form the answer, what are the steps of writing the answer. When you're learning substantive procedure, learn from cases because the exam will give you a case. So case by case, go about asset, non-current asset, liabilities, non-current liabilities, equity sections, income statement, develop cases. I have the cases with me in my normal notes. My substantive procedure notes are approximately 85 pages, which is full of every component of financial statements covering scenarios. So we have learned by scenario, learn application rather than memorization. For the audit ethical components as well. Ethics is very easy, but people get deceived because the situation changes by words. So learn to deal with situations. That is my only advice. Don't memorize, learn the strategies. Strategies are more important than memorizations. So that is my advice for it. Now, if there are any more detailed advices, my WhatsApp number is available. You can ask the admin as well. Anyone having any other questions, please quickly write them down in the chat box so that we can sum it up and call it a day. Sir, will we get latest solution of past paper practice? Absolutely, yes. You will be getting the my strategy to pass paper is basically I don't write the answers in live classes. Okay. I solve the question in front of you, draw a draft in front of you, give you a planner of what to write. Okay. Once I have given you the planner to how to write, you are going to write the answer and send it to me. I'm going to check the answer and provide you a feedback with the model answer that I've drafted at my own convenience. So this will save you a lot of time and will give you a feedback on your answers. You will learn your weaknesses right and then. So updated latest solutions are going to be there for each past paper, each pre-scene that has come up for the last 2 to 3 years. That is there in the LMS as well. And every pre-scene, every question will be there in recorded form as well. And I'm going to check them for you as well. Anything else? Yes, any other questions, please hurry up a bit. We'll be waiting for the next 2 to 3 minutes, okay, for the questions, and then we'll call it a day. If you have any other questions after the session, you can contact me on my WhatsApp number. We have an open group as well. You can ask the admin for the open WhatsApp group as well, and my contact number as well. I'll be happy to guide you regarding examination of audit in any other area where it is possible. Will the mock cover the entire exam strategy? Yes, everything. The mock will be basically covering up the complete exam pattern, like the exam pattern that we have 6 questions, section A, section B. The complete mock strategy is given to you, answer writing strategy is given to you. I will be solving the mock in front of you as well. I will be giving you the strategy lectures separately as well in each question. Like in test of control, there are 2 to 3 types of questions, right? So the 2 to 3 types of questions, I have given a lecture in how to deal with those questions separately as well. And in each practice question of Kaplan or BPP, whatever question I've solved, I have given the strategies there as well. So strategy will absolutely be the first thing that I will cover before I teach you the answer writing or give you the example of answer writing as well. Okay. Without strategy, we can't study audit. And without practice, we cannot pass the exam. So both of the things are extremely important for us. Anyone else having anything in mind? Anything at all, if you want to ask, you are happy to answer them. No need to worry about anything else. You can ask me. Okay, now, if anyone has no queries, no one is having any questions, we'll call it a day for now. We'll end the orientation for today, but I'm always available for people enrolled or not enrolled, doesn't matter. I'm available for you guys for any kind of guidance you require regarding ACCA or audit exam. You can contact me on my WhatsApp number anytime. Whenever I will be available, I'll surely try to help you out in anything at all possible from my side. So see you guys in the enrolled courses and live sessions that we have. Till then, that's all from my side. Love.